Okay, ignore the noise in the background. But I just want to let y'all know that tonight was a good night. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. I didn't think Monday Night Raw was trash at all, but unfortunately, CJAX thought it was trash. But let's get to his reasoning of why he thought it was trash. I thought it was okay. But I can share my thoughts at the end. Let's just go ahead and get to this video.
4 letters, 1 word, crap. That is what Raw is consistently, man. I don't even feel like talking about this piece of garbage episode, bro. AJ Lee is on the show. Yes, the show sucks. Yes. So either way you look at it, it doesn't matter who's out there if it's still a bad product. And your boy CJAX is having a little bit of a cough, so if I cough or something like that or my voice sounds a bit off in the video, that is exactly why. Basically what happens on this Raw tonight is absolutely nothing as per usual. Now there was some notable things like AJ Styles had a moment where he was basically out there doing a shoot promo during the commercial break, so only the international viewers saw it, I'm pretty sure. But I have the footage of it. You can DM me for it. I don't know if I can post it on here for copyright, but I do have the promo he cut during the break. Basically, I'll go over that next after I talk about the first segment. But man, outside of that, in the AJ Lee, Rollins, and Punk and Becky Lynch segment, I don't even know what else to say about this show. I really cannot tell you, man. Nothing happened that anybody really cares about if we're being real with ourselves. The Usos, we're just going to get right into it, man, because this show sucks. It sucks. And the problem is that no one's talking about as well as this, right? WWE can only rely on cheap pops and nostalgia. This episode, yet again, for the 50th time this year, exposed Triple H. Not only did AJ Styles kind of expose Triple H, because you can say it's a work, you can say whatever, but what AJ Styles said actually makes sense, and it is facts. The fact that he wasn't on the Clash in Paris card, and then the Raw after in Paris lost anyways? Like, are you kidding me? There's no excuses for this nonsense, man. So, with that being said, we have to acknowledge, you know what I'm saying, no pun intended, we have to acknowledge the fact that outside of people like a Randall Orton, a Romano Reigns, a Jonathan Cena, Brock Lesnar, CM Punkinator, Seth Rollins, all the older people in the company, even Codarius Rodington, that dude's over 40 years old having libations, and this is the WWE champion that you have right now, man. It's over. They have no young stars. Triple of Fraud has not built any new stars that actually have any type of hype or gravitas. That is why the only things that are exciting now are returns from nostalgia characters or returns from legends of the company. That's all that they have. You're watching a Monday Night Raw in 2025 and you're seeing CM Punk, who's dang near 50. AJ Styles is dang near 50. AJ Lee hasn't wrestled in 10 years. Nikki Bella, you know what I'm saying? Nicole Bella is out there wrestling. It's like, the list goes on and on. There's nothing wrong with having older wrestlers, but man, when are you going to build any type of young talent that gets a similar pop or similar reaction to any of the older talents? It's embarrassing, man. Braun Breaker comes out there and cuts his promo where he botches multiple times. Bronson Reed comes out there. Nobody cares about any of these jobbers. Realistically, be honest, nobody cares. Nobody cares if Roxanne Perez comes through that curtain or not. It doesn't matter. And the sooner you accept it, the better off you're gonna be. Now, with that being said, let's get into this show and let's run through these segments because absolutely nothing happened besides basically like maybe 1 or 2 announcements, and that's basically it. Okay? The Usos come out and they have a yeet party. The Usos come out, they basically just yeet and yeet and yeet. They do the one more time, and they go back up and they yeet some more, and then they yeet again. And then all of a sudden, they get on the mic and they basically talk about the Usos are now in your city. Braun Breaker then comes out and botches twice on the mic. He basically says that, I don't know if you guys remember last week, he like kind of minced his words with that. And then he basically said that, he messed up saying like something about your family, and he like kind of botched that as well. And then I think he may have botched again after that. And he basically just ended his promo and started like doing the thing that he does whenever he botches on the mic, if you notice, which happens pretty frequently. That's why I noticed this. Whenever he botches on the mic, this dude just starts raging and yelling at the microphone and then starts barking and acting like he's gonna fight, trying to basically make up and like ignore the fact that he just botched on the mic. This dude is not good at cutting promos. Like, I'm sorry, I've not seen Braun Breaker cut one good live mic promo ever since coming to the main roster. It's impossible for this guy, man. And you just think about it, what I was just saying, how they have no younger stars. This is the guy they're trying to push as the next big star, the next Cena or the next Roman Reigns. I mean, it's laughable. This dude who can't even say anything on the mic, he barely wrestles, and actually not that he barely wrestles, he wrestles, but he wrestles the same people, so it's essentially him doing nothing. He's had no notable feuds or matches or promos in an entire year and a half of being on the main roster. I mean, you can say whatever you want about Roman Reigns being pushed or over pushed, whatever, but at least least when he first became, a babyface and split from the Shield and he was a solo wrestler, that first year and a half, he had notable feuds. He had notable matches. He put on a great match in the main event of Mania 31 with Brock Lesnar. So it's like, how in the world is Braun Breaker supposed to be the next big thing? This dude has had maybe like some good matches, here and there, but most of them are just either decent to solid matches, and he has no good promos. So I don't know what to say about this, man. Bronson Reed then goes up and says, acknowledge your tribal thief, yada, yada, yada. Then the Usos do what they do best, and they bounce off of each other well. They're very funny. They basically said, you teaming with Paul Heyman, a.k.a. an idiot, a.k.a. a dummy, a.k.a. They just keep going back and forth with it. They start making fun of Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. It's pretty entertaining. Then afterwards, LA Knight comes out there. LA Knight has nothing better to do, obviously, than just brawl with people and do nothing. So he starts brawling with Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. And obviously, after this happens, the Usos start brawling. And that is essentially the gist of this segment. I mean, you already know what's going to happen. I mean, after all these words were said, you already knew they were going to do, they were going to do it. They were going to brawl. Yeah, another brawl for the 15th week in a row. So they brawl at the end of the segment. LA Knight and Jey Uso are at odds for the 15th week straight. They both job out and do nothing, and that's it. AJ Styles then comes out, and I'm going to give you guys the quote of what he said during this promo during the commercial break, because this was not live during the actual show that we saw as viewers, at least not in the US. Basically, he's like, what you're about to hear, you're probably not supposed to hear, but someone doesn't want me here, and I'll let you guess who that is. And obviously, we're all going to assume that this is Hunter Hearst Helmsley, triple fraud, you know what I'm saying, who doesn't want him there. And quite frankly, I don't care if this is a work or a shoot or whatever it is, there is truth to everything, right? There's a little bit of truth in this lie, if you get what I'm saying, if it is a lie, because it's just the reality here. If Triple H knows that AJ Styles is a long tenured legend, and AJ Styles can't even get on a card in France, which you obviously know how big he is in France and how amazing the reaction is for him, plus the fact that he had already lost to Dominic Mysterio at SummerSlam, with Dominic Mysterio doing the underhanded tactics, why in the world would you not even have him on the France card at least, and then you have him on the Raw the next night and he just loses? In front of that crowd, knowing that this is probably the last year and a half of his career? I mean, there's no respect there. AJ Styles' own son was on Instagram a few days ago, I'm pretty sure, complaining about the booking of his dad, and he's absolutely correct, man.
Yeah, it says it right here that he pretty much said, like, hey, you're not the only one, man. So, it's ridiculous.
So I don't know, bro. I thought this was actually kind of poignant, and it made sense because AJ Styles is just spitting facts. Triple H did not putting him on the card and then having him lose to Dominic Mysterio for the second or third time is bogus, and it's stupid. I mean, it's as simple as that. So there's no other reason about it. AJ Styles then fights El Grande Americano and gets the victory. He has a really cool sequence at the end where he hits a Styles clash in a very creative way. So I'll give him that. That was pretty awesome. But at the end of the day, Triple H got called out essentially by AJ Styles. You can call it a work, you can call it a shoot. Either way, it's facts.
I still think he should, still get an opportunity to go after the title one more time, and this time he wins it.
We then got Lyra Valkyria versus Raquel Rodriguez. No one cares about this match. The only thing I will say is that even though there was a multitude of botches, I like the way that Raquel Rodriguez is being booked. She's actually being booked like an enforcer and an actual, one of the bigger heels in the women's division, and that's what she should be getting booked as. She should not be losing to Lyra Valkyria. I don't give a crap if Raquel Rodriguez hasn't won anything. She should not be losing to Lyra Valkyria, so I'm glad that she got the dub and a big Tejada bomb to close it out. This was a good sight to see, and hopefully they can start booking Raquel Rodriguez as a good heel. Maybe she gets over as a obviously as a heel with the crowd, and maybe you can put a title on her at some point. But what I saw in this match from her, I thought was solid booking from Triple Fraudulent, so I'll give him that.
Well, there you go, CJAX. That's what I'm talking about. Drop a clue spot for Raquel.
We then move on to the main event of the night, basically. AJ Lee comes out, and she basically cuts her return promo. She obviously got a massive and big pop from the crowd. The crowd's really happy to see her, understandably so. She comes out there, and she basically is wearing Becky Lynch's Intercontinental Championship. She explains everything, that's gone down, basically. She says, I had to retire, I had to take a break, and I'm your favorite wrestler's favorite wrestler. So any of your millennial parents that were really excited when I returned, that's exactly why. And then she basically says that she had to take a mental health break. She had to find herself and she had to heal from things that were happening to her. And she says that everyone at home, you should take your time to heal too and check up on your mental health. And she was talking about how she went to therapy and stuff, and the crowd's chanting therapy, therapy. I mean, these crowds are such bots. They will literally chant for anything. During the Usos promo earlier, they were chanting Roman Reigns, Roman Reigns. We are bots. You know what I'm saying? That's all they are. So that's basically the situation with that. She then basically says that she was fine in her retirement. She found success. She wrote her book. She found herself. She did all of these things until a couple weeks ago on Raw when Becky Lynch was basically rubbing her face in CM Punk's face and motorboating her husband, she says. And then she basically says that because of her disrespect towards her husband, she ruined her retirement. And as she's about to finish what she's saying, Becky Lynch then comes out and says the same rigmarole promo she says every week. She basically says, look, Sports Illustrated says I'm the best. You know what I'm saying? I'm not the only one who says that. Sports Illustrated says it too. She makes, cheap pop hits at the home crowd. Whatever the crowd that she's in, she says the same thing. She's like, this dump of a city, or I hate this city, you people from Milwaukee, or you people from Wisconsin, whatever the heck she said. Then after that, AJ Lee basically says, if you want the belt and you're the greatest of all time, then come and get the belt. And then Becky Lynch says, no, I'm not doing that. She reveals that she has a quote-unquote black eye from AJ Lee's beatdown on SmackDown. Then after that, she calls out her hot husband, Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins then comes out and he gets, he takes another cheap pop at the crowd saying, we need to get out of this dump of a city. So AJ, you have two choices. You're either going to give my wife her belt and we're going to move on, or you can not give her back and you can make it difficult and we're going to get the belt another way. And then AJ Lee basically stops Seth from grabbing the belt. And then Seth basically says, this is my show. These are my people. I'm the world heavyweight champion and I'm going to get that belt back. AJ Lee stands in his way, similar to how Becky stood in Punk's way like last week or the week before. And then ultimately CM Punk comes out from behind and beats up on Seth Rollins and then tries to hit a GTS and then Seth Rollins and and Becky Lynch run away. And then the match gets officially announced because AJ Lee proposed that, another way they could get the belt back is by fighting her and CM Punk in a tag match at WrestlePalooza, mixed tag match. And Seth Rollins agrees to the terms. So now we have AJ Lee and CM Punk versus Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins at WrestlePalooza. The problem is with this is two things. Number one, they're wrestling for nothing. If CM Punk pins Seth Rollins here, what happens? We get CM Punk versus Rollins part 8 for the world title? I mean, what happens? If AJ Lee pins Becky Lynch, what? She's going to fight Becky Lynch for a meaningless championship and then probably win it? I mean, no matter how you look at this, if Seth Rollins pins CM Punk, then the feud is over. You know what I'm saying? If Becky Lynch pins AJ Lee, then what was the point of the return? No matter how you look at it, it's going to be predictable. AJ Lee and Punk are likely going to win, and we're going to have to continue this Punk and Rollins and this AJ Lee and Becky feud. The AJ Lee and Becky feud can be interesting. I'm actually looking forward to see that if it actually does happen. But the Punk and Rollins feud, we have to end this at some point, man. Just have Punk take the belt or have Rollins lose or something. I don't know. Move on from this, man. The Vision is the dumbest group of all time. It makes no sense. We've gone over that before. I don't even know why it's still here. Rollins said before his match at Clash in Paris that he doesn't need the Vision. He doesn't need Paul Heyman. No one's checked on Paul Heyman since he was written off with injury after getting put in the guillotine by Roman Reigns and sent to the hospital in storyline. So I don't what is the point of this group anymore? Rollins and the Brunsons haven't even interacted since SummerSlam, it feels like. So I don't what does this group do? What are they accomplishing? How is Rollins benefiting Braun and Brunson? They haven't gotten more over. They haven't improved much at all. I don't understand this group. It sucks. I think it's time to move on from this and have Seth go do something else. I don't know. Anyways, we then move on to Penta versus Rusev, okay? Penta basically lost to Rusev. The New Day got involved. The usual stuff. There's nothing really to say about this. Like I said, there's no point in wasting time in this. Your boy's got a cough. I don't want to talk about this garbage. You get what I'm saying? But I'm still thugging it out because your boy loves each and every one of you. Now, Rusev gets the W, so I guess this means he's now first in line for an Intercontinental Championship shot. I'm assuming versus Dominic Mysterio soon, because that's what they were talking about backstage. Then we move on from this. I'm pretty sure it was Nikki Bella versus Asuka, and that match basically took place. I only saw the highlights from this. Nikki Bella obviously got beat by Asuka. I'm pretty sure at least that's what happened.
Yeah, she won by submission.
And then backstage there was a segment with Rhea Ripley and Nikki Bella and Asuka and Kairi Sane. Nikki Bella, Nikki, Nikki, Licky, I don't even know what at this point, right? But Rhea Ripley goes backstage and she basically says to Asuka, do we have a problem? Because if there is a problem, I'm gonna take my baton, I never lost, yeah, and that's basically it. Earlier in the night, Io Sky was supposed to have a segment with Stephanie Vauquer, but apparently Stephanie Vauquer couldn't make the show, which, again, what does Stephanie Vauquer do at this point? She barely wrestles. She's barely even on the show. She doesn't cut promos. What does she do? She's just there. She's just there to have good matches whenever she's available, I guess. I don't know what happens with that, but still, that's basically the situation. Rhea and Asuka are still having this ongoing, lingering feud, and eventually it'll culminate in probably a Raw match, and that's that. And then at the end of the show, I will give them credit for this, because obviously it just ended in a big brawl with the Usos and then Braun and Brunson, the same way Raw's ended for the last month or two at this point. However, it did end with Jimmy Uso coming out first to help LA Knight, and then Jey Uso came out to help LA Knight. He got beat down a little bit, and then he speared LA Knight, which was a very shocking move, and it kind of was a little bit surprising, where I was like, whoa, Jey Uso's spearing him? So it looks like that promo, that backstage promo that Roman and Jey had, in the week or two before Clash in Paris, where Roman basically says, nah, you don't always have to watch out for everyone else. Sometimes you got to watch out for you and conquer yourself. You know what I'm saying? Do things yourself. And Roman said that, and I guess it had a mark on Jey. So that was a nice little connective storytelling that actually played on things in the past and the present. I thought that was pretty good. This was actually a pretty decent way to end the show in terms of the shock factor of Jey hitting that spear, because it actually makes sense and there's a story behind it. So I will give Triple H credit for this segment, and I will give him some credit for the Rollins and AJ and Becky and Punk segment, because there was some entertaining moments in that, and obviously the energy of AJ Lee being in there is cool as well. But other than that, this show was straight garbage. But those two things were decent. Well, the ending thing with Jey Uso, I honestly thought was actually good. The AJ Lee promo segment thing with her and Punk and Rollins and Becky was kind of just all right, it was decent. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great. It was just kind of there. It was solid. It was decent, whatever. So overall, I give this show a 3 out of 10. It's the same old garbage episode of Raw with 1 or 2 good moments. Thank you all for watching. Let me know what you thought about it in the comment section below. And as always, I thank you all for watching yet again. Peace out. Have a phenomenal day. Peace out. Have a phenomenal day. Peace out. In one love.
Well, I think the best part of the night was when they allowed Dominic Mysterio to talk. Shout out to Milwaukee for allowing Dominic Mysterio to cut a promo. I hope they get to do it every other state. And hopefully this is a sign that they will allow him to speak, even if he's still heel and, partially going babyface and whatnot. I mean, I think he's a tweener, so I think we're just going to stick with that, because he's still good. He's still doing heel stuff, and, people like him as a heel. You know what I'm saying? And if he's going to stay as a heel, then, and Liv Morgan's going to be babyface, then she needs to go to the babyface route and go hang with the babyfaces, even though I don't think she's going to get redemption that quick, especially when she has put her hands on everybody that didn't deserve to get beaten when she was healed. So karma is definitely going to come back at Liv Morgan's ass. It's going to start with Raquel, but once she loses Dom, it's going to be a reality check for her. And that 6-month period ain't going to do nothing but just get her to realize that, hey, in this business, making friends is not the first thing to do, okay? Making money is the first thing to do. And becoming a legend is the first thing is your priority, you know what I'm saying? Being a legend in the making, you know what I'm saying? And going after gold is one of them. So hopefully that will be her mindset when she comes back. Well, we all know her mindset is going to be getting back with Dom and making peace with the Judgment Day, even though I don't think that's her plan at all. I think her plan is to escape with Dominic Mysterio and not be part of the Judgment Day and go their separate ways. But the question is Dominic Mysterio going to follow? I don't know. After what we saw with the segment with Roxanne, I do believe that Roxanne is going to probably try to talk to Dom now that, he's starting to have a little bit of frustration with the group. Hopefully Roxanne will, have a little bit more little interaction with him, but we need to see a segment in order for us to get there. So, hopefully we can get that. But right now, I just want to say, man, congratulations to Dominic Mysterio for actually talking this time. Because the last time he spoke was at the, at New Jersey for SummerSlam before his match with AJ. So, and speaking of AJ, we need a rematch between him and Dom. Even though Rusev is probably going to go after it too. I say do that on Raw. Don't do that on no PLE. Okay, because we need to make up what happened with Styles. So, Now the question is AJ Styles is actually going to get the title? I mean, hopefully next time. But if he went through it twice and he lost twice, I mean, obviously, I don't know. I mean, obviously, I mean, look, if he becomes double champion, he has to lose that belt, and I think the person that should lose that belt, it should be, you know, I mean, if I have to think of somebody that could take that belt from him, it should be AJ Styles. But if it ends up to be Rusev or Penta, then fine. But at some point, AJ has to get that belt in order for him to have a good retirement. Otherwise, this was all for nothing. So hopefully he'll get that, because like I said, this booking has to stop. Okay, you have to give him the belt. I mean, if you're looking at AJ Styles like LA Knight, then something wrong, because AJ, you can't. You got to be better than this. You can't just sit here and say that that Triple H is taking control of you, because I thought you were better than that. I mean, you really gonna let this guy take control of you like this? But when you're under contract, there's really no way of getting out until the date is running out. So he's running out. I mean, look, he got 6 months. So, I mean, 6, 7, yes. Either way, he got 6 months. So hopefully he'll get that title. Otherwise, it's a wrap. But damn, man. Everybody over here talking down on AEW, but nobody wants to talk down about WWE and their bad bookings. Jeez. Even Nikki Bella getting jobbed out. Damn. By Asuka. By submission? And there's no Steffi Vakir? Man, I'm sorry. Man, I can't wait for Dynamite, man. Anyway, man, I'm about to get back to watching Collision, because I didn't finish watching the rest of it. So I'm going to go ahead and watch the rest of Collision. And don't forget about Dynamite, because, we got some good old matches that's going to come our way. We got, Tony Storm versus Sky Blue, so that's going to be dope. We got Ricochet versus Shelton Benjamin. That's going to be dope. And then, of course, we got Adam Page versus John Alexander, which I'm excited about that. And we also got this right here. We got a tag team match with Mercedes Moné and Emi Sakura versus Alex Windsor and Riho. And then, of course, we got Daniel Bryan. He's back, y'all. Yes, yes, yes. He's going to be the new commentator. That's right, y'all. Daniel Bryan is going to be the new commentator for AEW. Yep. He's working full time. He's going to be in the commentary. He's going to be into that. He's going to be sitting in that table, and he's not going to be wrestling. So congratulations to Daniel Bryan. I'm glad he got a new job position. I think this is good for him, because I think he's great on the mic, and I think, him being in commentary is a good thing. I mean, look, JBL did it. Jerry the King Lawler did it. Wade Barrett did it, and so many more. So, honestly, this is a good thing, and I can't wait for Dynamite. So, by the way, for the Tony versus Scott Blue, it's going to be a Philly street fight. I don't know what kind of street fight that look like, but, hey, that's what it's going to be, because it's going to be in Pennsylvania. So, let's check it out. But y'all get in the comment box. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, share if you're new. And I'll catch y'all in the next video, all right? When this video comes out, it's going to be in the morning. And so right now it's like 1:22 a.m. So I definitely gotta go to bed. But I'll catch y'all in the next rebound. All right, I'm out.